All right. So I'm back. We're here this time to talk about Midi, which stands for Musical Instrument Digital Interface. Now, the long story is that in the 1980s, there were lots of different musical devices, and they all needed a way to be able to talk to each other independent of an actual person playing them, right? There needed to be a way to sync them and send information between those instruments that allowed for musical playback in a synchronous way and for the synchronization of the actual musical notes. Right, so MIDI became a very useful protocol for the automating of a musical performance, essentially. And these days, even though we're not using many of the same devices that we used back then, we still have a need for MIDI in its modern form. Right? So when you're making music on a computer, MIDI notes, for example, become very, very important. And we're back in Logic, and as you can see, there's this little keyboard here that looks exactly like your keyboard in front of you, the physical keyboard in front of you. And the difference is when you hit the letters, you actually hear sounds, right? So when you hit your W on your keyboard, you'll hear that crash, that drum crash. If you hit the E, you'll hear a different percussive element. MIDI notes are very important, and if you'll notice down here, you'll see a piano roll. This is what we call a piano roll, a digital piano roll. And actually, if you look very closely, you'll see the names of each instrument, and they correspond with your actual keyboard in front of you, right? You hit that cowbell, it'll actually correspond with a letter that you can hit on your actual physical keyboard. So MIDI notes are very simple to understand and to visualize. So the first thing I want to go over is a few interface ideas. So if you go up here and you click this scissor, that turns on and off the actual piano roll, where the MIDI notes will appear when you do a performance. If you hit Command K on your keyboard, it'll actually get rid of and cause the keyboard to actually appear as well, right? So, and also lastly, if you go here, see these two little arrows? These correspond to your click on the right and the left side of your keypad. If you click and then hit the pencil tool, this is a tool that will allow you to write MIDI information or MIDI notes into the piano roll. Right, so let's go ahead and input a few MIDI notes. I'm gonna just quickly put the kick down. And then I'm gonna actually put a snare down as well. Right? So let's play that back and see how that sounds. Cool. So you see how the MIDI notes allow you to basically very quickly input MIDI data that then plays back in real time to actually build out a composition. Cool. So it's kind of like the first introduction to MIDI programming.